What is going on, guys? Carter here with Edged Mindset. We're taking a look at a pretty cool budget knife coming in from Kizer. This is the Towzer-K. Now, I've had this knife for quite a while, and I just refuse to do a review on it because it's so good that I don't want you to go out and buy them all. Just kidding. That's a complete lie. I just haven't gotten around to doing a video on this particular knife, mainly because I've been doing other stuff. And, you know, this has been out for a long time. There's plenty of videos on it, so it's not exactly like people are holding their breath to see what is Edged Mindset's opinion on the Towzer-K. The other thing as to why I haven't really done a review on this is because it's a very good budget knife, but there's not really that much interesting about it. But I did want to do a short video. This is going to be a short one. We're going to talk about it. We're going to do some specs and all the usual stuff on this knife, and I'll give you my opinion on it. You're looking at about 3.5 inches, 3 3/4, depending on where you want to measure it from. Almost 4 inches to the middle of the pivot, not quite. Overall length is about 8 inches. So a nice medium-sized knife for really easy carry, stowing, all that kind of stuff. 4.2 ounces, nice and light. Really did a good job on this. Let's compare it to the Paramilitary 2. It is a little bit smaller than the Paramilitary 2. Well, actually, I know you're screaming. You're like, are you blind? They're like the exact same size. Maybe it's just my perspective, but I feel like the Towzer-K is like a millimeter longer, but essentially the same for all intents and purposes. Thickness is quite comparable. You know, when you do pocketability with the width here, you've got the Spidey hole, so it's always going to be wider up there. But for the most part, they're very comparable. So if you like the Spyderco Paramilitary 2, you'll like this one, at least in terms of how it carries. That's where the similarities end, though, because this is its own beast. What is the steel on this? I think it's like 154 cm. Yep. 154 cm steel, not CPM, so nothing fancy here, but once again, it is a budget knife. I'm an old school, old fart, so I would prefer something I recognize like 154 cm rather than like Nitro V, where I just don't fully know its capabilities, but that's just me. Ooh, look at that liner lock right in the middle, right where you want it for a steel liner lock onto a steel lock face, just like that. Really, really good. Beautiful blade, flat ground. You know, it's got that usual kind of machined and polished type finish on it. Satin flats. Thumb stud deployment. You've got jimping on the back here. That's, it's okay. It's not worthless. It's not great. It kind of ramps down though, so you're kind of more inclined to slide forward, probably further than you'd want, but it's serviceable, good effort, not too bad. Blade thickness is pretty decent. It is a slicer. It is really thin behind the edge, really good for slicing through packages. You can see how high that grind is. Really good there. Nice sharpening choil, good little touch. This is thumb stud deployment only, so there's no flipper tab. You can see there's some jimping on the back there in case you want to choke up a little bit, which is a nice touch too. There's no finger choil for choking up. But they did give you some jimping, so you can kind of come up here and it'll help prevent you from sliding forward if you don't mean to. This comes in all different kinds of flavors, different scales. This one is Richlite, blue Richlite. And when I got it, it was a nice light blue, but since I've owned it, I got it all greasy and gross, and so it's darkened up quite a bit, as you can see there, but really cool pattern. Richlite is an awesome material. If you've never handled it, it's kind of cool. It feels like paper, but obviously, well, it is paper. It's paper and resin, but it is way more robust than how it feels. It's pretty good stuff, and it kind of gives cool wearing patterns. So as you kind of nick it up and scrape it up, you get kind of raw Richlite poking through, and it just looks kind of cool. I like it. Custom pivot right there. No tool on the show side, which is kind of cool. Just nice and domed. Looks pretty sleek. Looks pretty nice. You've got the pivot on this side that you can actually engage with your tool. This is running on bearings. You can see, kind of interesting how they ran out of space, and you can actually see the side of the nylon bearing cage right there, which is kind of interesting. When I first got it, it had a little bit of a bearing rumble type feel to it, where you could kind of feel them rolling around, but it's since completely broken in. And this is one of the smoothest, most drop-shutty knives I own. This is a knife where if I haven't handled it in a while, I go to play with it and check the action, and I think, oh, that pivot must be loose, right? Because it's just too drop-shutty. It's too smooth. And I go and check it. Whoa. I go and check it. I go and check it, and there's no play at all. You've got a little bit of flex just because things are kind of thin. You know, it's more of a slicer. But there is no actual side-to-side play. There is no play up and down. The lock bar is super solid. Really good lockup on this thing. Really easy to disengage. You can see that it's not only textured on the inside of this black lock bar right there, but it sits proud of this scale, so you can get in there, no problem. One of my pet peeves is when knives, they don't do that, and then it's difficult to get my big fat thumbs in to undo that lock bar. Just don't love it. But no problem here, no detent lash. I mean, you know, Kizer's really good at manufacturing. Love them, hate them, like them, whatever. They are really good at manufacturing. They're good at precision. They're good at including all the latest features. And they're good at doing it at a very affordable price. You can see here it's got a pin right there, the lock pin, stop pin, sorry. Stop pin is wedged in between these steel liners right here. And then you have a fully shouldered interface so that it is just wrapping around that stop pin, giving you maximum amount of contact, which means it is not going to creep on you, right? So as you're using it and you're putting force this way, it's not going to deform the back of the blade, and it's not going to make that stop pin move, which would then cause this lockup to kind of start creeping over, right? That is one of the problems with knives that use stop pins and like titanium as the other side, is that titanium softer and it'll start to kind of shoulder itself if it's not done properly, and the blade will like move back and you'll get lockup changes, not necessarily issues, but changes. Could be issues, just kind of depends. But you're not going to get any of that with this knife. Really well done. Skeletonized. You can't see in there because it's so dark, so black. Oh, you can a little bit. Nice and skeletonized. Obviously, if you look at the weight, you know it's skeletonized. It'd be way heavier if it wasn't. Open construction, easy to clean. 2 pillars right here. Screws that are black that go into those. Deep carry pocket clip, which puts you about like nothing, man. Very, very little is actually going to be poking out of your pocket with this. So if you like deep carry pocket clip, this is your jam. You can see some wear on that pocket clip. So not super robust because I haven't carried the crap out of this thing, you know. So really across the board, I would say doing this video on this knife, I'm actually surprised at how not new this looks, because I haven't done that much with it. I've opened some stuff, I've used it randomly, I've played with it quite a bit. I don't even know if I've really carried it outside of the house, and if I have, maybe once. So it's, you know, it's getting some crud built up in this pattern here. You've got some paint flaking off of this pocket clip. So not a super robust finish on this knife, but I wouldn't necessarily expect it to be at this price point. I think these are like 40, 50 bucks. So not bad at all. Really, really affordable. That's interesting. I never noticed that before. So it is a reversible pocket clip, but it's got what looks like 3 different holes here, but only on this side. Maybe it's on this side too. I wonder if that actually allows you to adjust how deep you want this pocket clip to be. So this looks like it's on the not so deep setting, but I'm guessing you could put it on these top 2 here, and then this would actually sit a little bit proud of the scale, and it would be as deep as you would possibly want this thing to be. So what I'm saying here is, if you like it deep, this is the knife for you. That's a bad joke. That's a bad joke right there. But yeah, Towzer-K, it's nothing new. You can get this in all kinds of flavors. It's a good medium-sized utility knife that you can carry super easily for a couple of reasons. Lightweight, deep carry pocket clip, good lockup, very affordable. I mean, there's not really like, you know, it doesn't really get my juices flowing in terms of just as a knife, but in terms of a very good all-around knife that's very affordable and easy to own and manage, it's a total win, which is why it's so popular, right? Kizer does not need me saying this is a good knife. They are selling so many of these things, all different flavors, because it's just such a solid knife. Yeah, let me know. What do you think? Do you own a Towzer-K? And if not, look how centered that is. If not, would you ever pick one up? Comment down below. I want to talk to you guys. I want to interact with you guys. I'll catch you on the next video. Take care. I appreciate every one of you guys. See you. I'm out.